Well, welcome everybody to our Team Elevate morning call. We've got great instruction this morning. Mr. Shayne Meyers is our guest instructor, and those of you that have heard him from him before know that he brings valuable information. Shayne is an incredible, one of the up-and-coming leaders in our team. Watch this guy. He is successful in real estate, in business. He's a man of faith. He's a family man. But just as important as all of those, he's a man of action. And we're glad that he's with us here today. Shayne, how are you, sir?
Good, Ron. Thanks for introing. Can you hear me?
I can hear you. You sound great, Shayne. Thanks.
All right. Cool. Well, happy to be with you this morning. I have got some awesome, value-packed content to share. But first, I wanted to cover something that we discussed yesterday in EMT. And it has to do with the housekeeping item. And I want to spend just a couple minutes on it. And it has to do with setting proper expectations with regard to the UGA financing program. Something important to note. Now, first things first. It's a side note. If you were a part of the EMT group yesterday and I am leaving something out or am not as accurate as I could be on one of these topics, I'm coachable. Just come off mute and let me know. So that way we can all, that way that the message is accurately portrayed and received. Okay, so first things first, when you go through UGA, when you are pitching a prospect on the idea of utilizing UGA to fund their education, it is not a credit building strategy necessarily, okay? So it's not something that's going to report for that prospect, soon-to-be student, on their credit report every time they make a payment. It's not going to show that they have this loan, they paid it off, it looks really good. The only time UGA will report on one of our prospects or / students' credit reports is when they have gone delinquent, and when they've gone to collections, when they're no longer making their payments. Then UGA is going to throw up a warning flag and let others know of the risk, okay? So not really a credit building strategy. Don't pitch it as such. Make sure we set proper expectations. Also, it's important to let prospects know when they're applying for UGA that there is a credit pull. It's not a soft credit pull. It is a hard credit pull that could potentially affect their score, okay? Now, really easy to pitch this. Let them know there's a credit pull, that it's a hard pull, but great news, it doesn't have any bearing on the decision to grant funding to you, okay? It's simply for UGA to keep statistics. It's for their business model. Any questions on those two topics before I move on to our training? All right. So, I wanted to discuss topic number 5 of the book GoPro. Okay, some of you know the last couple of trainings we've talked about finding of prospects, how to invite them, presenting your product or your opportunity, following up. Number 5 is helping your prospects become students, okay? Now, this is closing. This is getting people started, okay? And I know when I was newer to the business, when I was newer in sales, this was like the most uncomfortable part of the process. The awesome part is every time you're doing something in your business that's making you feel uncomfortable, you're just stretching yourself. You're learning, you're growing. So what we have to offer at Renatus is second to none. It's an excellent educational service. The community is fantastic, and there's nothing out there like it, right? Now, as awesome as it is, when your prospects sit through a presentation, a briefing, a meeting, whatever you want to call it, more often than not, they're not going to come to you and say, okay, I'm ready to get started. Pull your tablet out. Let's put my order in. You're going to have to ask for the order, right? AFTO, ask for the order. Right? And this is not just a passive one-time asking of the order. People have to be asked over and over and over again. Most of us, in retrospect, if we would think back on when we were invited down to come learn about the Renatus opportunity, right? This wasn't even asking for the sale. People probably had to ask us several times just to get our butts down to a presentation. Okay? So it works the same way here. You're going to have to ask for the order several times before people take action, more often than not. So the more times you ask for the order, the closer you are to being able to help them into making $10,000. Okay? Now, something that hit me really hard, something that's really important, there's a book, as a side note, it's called The Closer's Guide to Survival. It's in the Audible account. And Grant Cardone goes over, I think, 150 to a couple hundred different closes. I've got a hard copy of the book as well. It's that good. And something important to keep in mind is, we can only provide a very limited amount of value to our prospects as prospects, right? If you don't close them, if you don't ask them to get started, if they do not gain access to their classes, if they do not gain entry to their business center, we can't provide them the value that they need to get out of the W-2 rut mindset that they're in and move on to a prosperous, wealthy way of thinking. Does that make sense? Okay? So when you go to approach a prospect at the end of a presentation, you have to have good posture when you ask for the order. Okay? When you're following up. Okay? You're either going to instill confidence or you're going to sow seeds of doubt. Okay? And it's going to be displayed in your attire, what you have, what you're wearing, how you look, your body language, your eye contact. There are several different things that go into prospect making a decision to move forward. These are all things that they're looking at in their decision-making process. And the great news is what we have to offer is really freaking awesome. Okay? I remember when I first came in this business, I was no good at the invitation, at closing people. I thought I was. Right? I had sales experience. I thought I knew what I was doing. I wasn't that good at it. But guess what? Mitch and Michael and John and whoever else was presenting that night, Raul, they were so darn good at relaying the information, providing value through the briefing, that it didn't matter as much, right? But I still had to ask for the order, right? So what did I start to do as a new IMA in the business? Well, I started acting the part, okay? So in the beginning, I was a poser. We talked about the difference between the posers, the amateurs, and the professionals. Posers are needy and full of emotion, okay? They're just trying to get prospects to join. They're chasing, okay? We don't actually think they're going to join, but we want to make that 10 grand. We're not really listening. They're giving us important pieces of information that we could use to help them through the closing process. But we've got commission breath. They look like 10 grand. We're not really interested in them. We just want to sound interesting. And then we say, hey, why don't you get started? Let's get you going, right? And your results will be mixed if this is your approach. Okay? Professionals aren't needy. Okay? We don't need anybody to do this when they come down. We don't need everyone to get started. All right? Sometimes I'll bring down a prospect that I think is so great, and I'll sit there and I'll observe their body language throughout the presentation. And if at the end of the presentation they're still sitting there with the frowny face, you know, legs crossed, arms folded, kind of got the cynical look, I don't need them to get started. I can help somebody else and make 10 grand somewhere else, right? That's been one of the most empowering, belief sets or mindset shifts, paradigm shifts that I've had in this business. I don't need everyone to get started, all right? I'm going to choose with whom I go into business, okay? So when I come talk to a prospect, when I follow up with them directly after the briefing, okay, I'm not attached to them. I'm not needy. There's no emotion, okay? And I'm going to be assumptive in my closing. And I'm going to show you how here in just a moment. We're going to go into the how. But the why is really, really important. If you don't understand the why, the how doesn't matter. Okay? Now, if somebody looks at me and gives me any other answer, right, when I say, hey, what was your favorite part? Great, you ready to get started? I did the combo. Do you want to do that too? Something to that effect. You know, I am shocked. Absolutely shocked. I'm baffled, mind-boggled if they're not excited at the prospect of moving forward. Okay? That's what professionals do, right? We believe in what we offer. It's so dang good that if we step in front of someone, we say, great, you ready to get started? And they're like, I don't know. Yeah, I don't think so. 20 grand is a lot of money. I'm going to kind of give them that puzzled look, right? See, 20 grand is a lot of money, right? Michael talked about this yesterday in EMT. I'm going to repeat back to them what they said slowly. And as they process it, they're going to kind of realize how silly they sounded. Man, 20 grand is a lot of money? I'm going to raise my eyebrows, kind of give them that look like, what do you mean? All right? And you'll get that. And it's kind of silly if you think about it, right? 20 grand is a lot of money. Do you not just see Mitch show you how he made twice that, 3 times that? There was real estate. I made through his, made it back and then some through Velocity Banking. He saved that on his car payment. He's actually making money off driving around an awesome, sports car. All right, so you got to act. You got to have that belief in your mind that, man, if they say anything besides, I'm ready to get started, I'm going to be a bit shocked, right? Okay, so professionals do 5 things, right? Write them down. Number 1, they're emotionally detached. Okay. Number 2, they're very assumptive in their approach. Assumptive in approach. This means you're shocked when someone says no. Okay. Third thing, we didn't talk about this a lot, but third thing is they promote themselves as much as the opportunity. Right? So you're selling yourself. People are going into business with you. Okay? When I say you're selling yourself, you get to say, oh, hey, when they say, what else comes with this offering? Or, well, what else is entailed with the education? Whatever the question might be. Hey, you get me. Right? I'm a product of the product. I've done this. I'm doing this. I just learned this. And I've got the answers to your questions to help you move forward. We get to work together. You get to work with me. It's a privilege, right? Something they shouldn't take for granted because you've been in their shoes, right? Number 3, they promote, oh, excuse me, number 4, always prepared. Always prepared. All right? If you don't have a hot spot, get a hot spot. Right? Make the investment. Get committed. Okay? Bring a tablet, bring a laptop, bring something to put in an order to every single event you go to. You never know. Right? The worst thing that can happen is you're sitting there at the end of a cash flow or a follow-up or whatever the event is, and you're going, oh, this guy's only been to a presentation or 2. He's not going to be ready to get started. And then he looks over and says, all right, Mr. IMA, how do I do this, man? You guys take Visa? And you're like, You're looking around for your 5-star affiliate to help you get this guy signed up, or this gal. Start sweating a little bit. Don't do that. Pull out your laptop, open it up, have it ready, log into your business center, put the order in. Okay? Number 5, ask questions after questions and are great listeners. Did you know that's how you maintain control of a conversation? Right? I sat there and observed Michael Huggins in our EMT training yesterday, which I'm going through for the 2nd time, and it's awesome, by the way. If you're not there, you're missing out. And more often than not, when somebody would ask a question, he would ask a question right back, and I found it amazing. Most of the time, we knew the answer, right? So when somebody says, hey, Michael, if I buy that AIT package, the 2 vocational courses that come with your essentials, right? Does that count as part of my bucket? Michael would maintain eye contact, and he'd look, and he'd listen, and he'd say, and he'd make a determination, right? Whether or not to ask a question and what type of question to ask. I remember one time he said, well, what do you think? Well, yeah, I think so. Kind of funny, right? A little bit silly, but this is the way our brains learn, right? We spend, whether we realize it or not, our subconscious mind spends all day asking itself questions, right? And finding answers to those questions. So how many of us have raised our hand and asked a question, and then boom, you're like, I shouldn't have asked that, I just figured out the answer. Right? So that's what the professionals do. Step 5 is they ask questions, question after question, and they are great listeners. Okay? There's a couple great books in the Audible account. I'm told I'm going to get into them. Question-based selling is one of them. There's a couple other ones specifically based on questions. So if you struggle in that arena, go study it. Go listen to the Audible account, right? And then go put it into action. Right? Move at the speed of instruction. One of my favorite things that Jay Massey says, he'll be sitting through one of his classes, and he'll be like, okay, remember, folks, we're going to move at the speed of instruction. I'll hit pause. I'm like, oh, crap. Okay, he just told me to do 3 different things. All right, let's pick up the phone. Let's do this. Let's do that. Boom, move forward. Okay? So professionals act like a consultant helping the individual solve a problem. Isn't that why we get paid as real estate investors? To help individuals solve problems? Right? And we've talked about it several times. You've been told it. We've all heard it. That as marketers of the Renatus education, right, we're going out and we're engaging and utilizing the same skill set that is involved with real estate investing. right? The questions are a little bit different, but the action is the same, right? Somebody that you know is potentially a good candidate, somebody you might want to go in business with, you pick up the phone, you make a phone call, you ask some questions, you set up a time to get together, right? You commit them to be there, and you give them information, right? You find a potential real estate opportunity. What do? Knock on the door, pick up the phone, depending on the deal, you ask some questions, listen, figure out in both scenarios, Renatus, education sales, or real estate investing, what's this person's story? Why do they want to sell? Why do they want to buy my education? Why would they want to come down? How can I help them? What problem do they have? All right, promise. Promise, promise, promise. Stop thinking about the 10 grand. It'll come, right? Bob Sanders never failed me. The checks continue to hit the account. I guess the direct deposits now. That will happen. But it will happen more frequently if you focus on those people and helping them solve their problems than it will on, man, that person's 10 grand. That person's 10 grand. I just did one of those this month, and I'm in the wealthy 5%. There's my 6-figure year. Come here, Miss 10 grand. All right, so let's go with the follow-up script so we can put this information into action. All right? Trying to decide here. So in the book, in GoPro, Eric, the author, goes over a 4-question close. Right? And I'm going to share it with you real quick. I'm going to go through it kind of quickly. If you want it from me, I can get it to you. It's in the Audible account. You can Google it, Siri it, whatever you do. It's out there. And then I want to actually spend some time on, I guess you could say our abbreviated version of, the follow-up script of what to say after a briefing or after a presentation. Okay? Because that I know is working because I am doing it, and I know people who are doing it right here, locally, and across the nation. All right, so first of all, GoPro, Eric's close, okay? Question number 1, right? It's similar to, in fact, it's the same as our follow-up script close. I was just given yesterday in the EMT and reminded to stick to verbatim for the most part, okay? So, what did you like best about what you saw tonight? Write that down. So, what did you like best about what you saw tonight? Not what did you think? So, what did you like best about what you saw tonight? Practice it with me. You're driving in the car, you just got out of the shower, whatever you're doing, laying in bed. So, what did you like best about what you saw tonight? So, what did you like best about what you saw tonight? You got to get good at it. You got to say it with confidence. They're going to know, they're going to feel it. You're going to exude an energy, whether it's good or bad, you determine. If it's good, they might just buy from you. Just saying. All right. So then I'm going to go through, so this is the GoPro side of things. The next question he asks is, based on what you have just seen, if you were to get started with us part-time, approximately how much would you need to earn per month in order to make it worth your time? How much do you need to earn each month to make it this worth your time? All right, so you're assuming they want to do this. You want to find out what their expectations are. Eventually, we're going to sit down and create a plan with them based upon their expectations, right? Question 2, approximately how many hours could you commit each week to making that kind of income? Okay. So let's say the answer to question number 1 is $5,000. It's what they would need to make it worth their time. Question number 2, approximately how many hours could you commit each week to making that kind of income? And let's say they say 15 hours. Okay. Question 3, how many months would you work those kind of hours to develop that kind of income? Oh, well, Shayne, if I was making $5,000 a month, and I was putting in 15 hours a week, I don't see why I would stop doing that. That's pretty good pay from what I'm accustomed to, right? They're going to give you that sort of answer. How many months would you work those kind of hours to develop that type of income? That kind of income. Why? I don't know. I'd stop doing it. Great. Question 4. If I could show you how to develop an income of $5,000, the answer to question 1, working 15 hours per week, the answer to question 2, see, it's key that you listen, over the next 12 months, right? Let's say they want to make that $5,000. Let's say they answered the question 3 on how many months they want to work this. They say, well, I want to do that for 12 months for my goal. Then you're going to fill in the blank, right? If I could show you how to develop an income of $5,000 working 15 hours a week over the next 12 months, would you be ready to get started? Right? 9 times out of 10, they're going to say something to the effect of yes. Maybe, probably, more than likely, yeah, I just had a couple questions. Okay? Right? So then you're finding out what their expectations are. Right? What you don't want to do is come to a prospect at the end of the briefing, right? When let's just show us how to make 40, 50 grand on a flip and say, all right, so you're ready to make 50 grand on your next fix and flip? And they're like, man, I don't even make 50 grand. It takes me like 2 years to make 50 grand, right? You want them to be able to see themselves in your shoes or in the presenter's shoes. You want them to be able to see themselves fitting the expectation that you're helping set with them, that you're helping to figure out, right? They already have an expectation in mind. So let them tell you what it is, and then help them by creating a plan, right? You're going to get together with them. You're going to sit down. You're going to create a plan on how to fulfill that expectation. Okay? I know the way we do that here in Salt Lake City is we've got an awesome 90-day plan, right? And I'm not asking for individuals to come off mute and confess, but how many of you are really familiar with a 90-day plan? If I gave you a whiteboard and a dry erase marker, you could step up in front of me and you could present a 90-day plan based on my needs, and you could custom tailor it or custom fit it to what I need so that I could relate and I could make a decision to move forward and receive value and help, and you could get paid 10 grand for helping me and providing that value. Right? If you're not familiar with our 90-day plan, missing out. Show up Friday night. In fact, show up Thursday night, and instead of sitting in your essentials class, right, maybe go up and hang out with Dane and follow up. Do that Thursday and or Friday for a few weeks, and you'll be amazed at what you learn. Right? Little tidbit of information here, a little secret as we wrap up the phone call. My income has really begun to take off as I stopped waiting on exposures and events to happen. Right? I still plug in. I still use them. I still take people to house tours. I still show people the epic presentation on Thursday evenings. But when a prospect says to me, oh, I can't do a group follow-up tomorrow night, I'm going to this commitment I had from months ago, whatever it is, I'll say, great, how does next Thursday sound? That's what amateurs do, right? I don't want to meet with them every week or 2, 3 weeks. It's going to take a long time to collect a decision, right? They need 4 to 6 exposures before they can make an educated decision. I'm going to cram those exposures, I'm going to jam pack them into the smallest amount of time possible, right? If you're willing to meet with me every day or 2, and we'll collect the decision by the end of this week at the latest, right? So keep that in mind. Learn how to follow up. Learn how to do this, okay? Now let me give you an easier path, right? Let me give you, actually, I don't like the word easy. Let me give you something that is more simple as far as a follow-up script, right? I have a copy of this. Most of us do. Okay, this is really, really easy. This is what it sounds like. In fact, this is it. So, what did you like best about what you saw tonight? Shut up and listen. They're going to tell you what they liked, right? Don't be the guy who doesn't listen and then just, great, you ready to get started? Oh, I really like that velocity banking. Well, I guess we got to get you plugged in and get some lines of credit set up for you. And the guest will respond. Prospect will say, yeah, we do. Great. It's going to be your response. Great. Right? With enthusiasm. Awesome. Well, we need to set up a one-on-one, right? With my advisor. This is for you folks who are newer, who aren't running your follow-ups by yourself, or you feel like maybe you should rely on your advisor because they can relate to your prospects. Feel like they could provide some value. Great. We need to set up one-on-one with my advisor. Are you available tomorrow or Saturday? Morning or afternoon? Right? Set the appointment. They'll give you a yes, a binary close. The natural human reaction in responding to a question with 2 answers is going to be to give them one of the answers, right? You say tomorrow or Saturday. Oh, actually Saturday works best. Morning or afternoon? Afternoon. Right. Okay, wonderful. I'm looking forward to it. Let me introduce you to my advisor, right? Those of you who are new, go find your advisor. Don't scream at your advisor to come to you. That de-edifies. You're going to go walk over to them. You introduce your guest to your advisor, and then you will edify your advisor. Your advisor will in turn edify you. All right, cool. Come meet my advisor. Right? We'll walk across the room. All right. This is Stu and Tanya Rosenberg. They just picked up a portfolio of 93 properties. Right? They just converted a 10-bedroom home in Draper into an office space. Right? And they're crushing it there. There's some awesome things going on. Right? And then Stu or Tanya, in my case, would say, thanks, Shayne. You're working with an awesome individual here. Shayne's wrapping up a land deal in Midvale. And got some really exciting things that he's working on in his rental business. Right? And the prospect will be like, whoa, these guys are a real deal. Okay? And then you sit there and you listen and you act interested. Okay? So in this scenario, in closing, be aware of your body language, your eye contact, your smile, enthusiasm, your focus, your listening. All those things matter. Even though your advisor has taken over the conversation, you're still contributing. You're either adding to that interaction, that conversation, or you're subtracting, right? So put your arm behind your back and act small. Don't play with your pinky. Don't bite your nails, pick your nose. Just be interested, right? Just be interested. Just listen. Okay? All right. That is everything on today's training. Hope we've been able to provide some awesome value. We're going to take 4 minutes if needed and answer any questions that you have. Actually, we're going to answer any questions that I can answer. Because if I can't answer them, I won't answer them. But I can tell you somebody who can, more than likely, right? So, any questions, concerns, comments as we wrap up the call? It's *6. Come off mute if you so desire.
Shayne, Ron here. Hey, you said you've got these books in hardback or in actual books, not just the audio books. You've got GoPro. What was the other one you mentioned?
I don't have GoPro. I have the Closer's Guide to Survival by Grant Cardone.
Closer's Guide. Very good. Thank you. I think I'm going to go pick those up. Thank you.
Yep. I highly recommend it. It's very affordable. I think it was less than $15 on Amazon. It was like $12 to be honest. And it's really cool. It's an actual workbook where you can take notes. You can, custom tailor those closes to yourself. So you don't sound like Grant. You sound like Ron. Anything else, guys? All right. Well, in that case, I'm going to go work my business, and you should too. All right? Grateful for the opportunity. Thanks for listening in. If I can do anything to help, my phone number is 801-822-4886. Text me first. If I don't recognize your number, you can count on it. I won't answer. I will call back, but I will not answer. So shoot me a text or leave me a voicemail if you're old school. Thanks, guys. Have a great day.